It's 8:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item is to acknowledge the minutes from January 26th.
So second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Meet with the courthouse maintenance supervisor who is off again.
I did, just for the board's information, Christy and I went downstairs at the old assessor's office. We had some issues with water damage to some of the cases, the red cases. you said.
Correct.
And we weren't sure where it was coming from at the time. The carpet stuff wasn't wet, but clearly the bags were still damp and whatnot, including inside. There were some folders that.
Really?
So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to call a plumber, so I called Dave. And Dave came right over and kind of, he talked with Christie and like what he said.
Oh, thank you.
You can take tips.
Okay. I'll get right on that then.
Well, that what he suggested we do.
Abby, is there any damage to any of please tell me there's no damage to any elections equipment?
So,
Okay, here we go.
no,
Okay,
we are having a mock election this week and have to get the machines
Oh,
out.
oh.
The students are coming over
Nice.
from government class,
nice.
but it could be a continued problem, but we're getting the new equipment. You guys signed off on that last week.
And so we're not gonna put the new equipment where the old equipment was that got damaged.
We are talking about cages to roll, like to have all of the equipment stored in each, for each precinct. And so obviously
Nice.
up off the ground is,
Do you have any cages that would hold?
Don't go there, Susie.
Susie. I just asked, because everybody wanted to know.
it wasn't ever the long-term goal to have them on the ground.
Okay.
And I think that truly is the problem, that they hadn't been on the ground.
And there's,
And that's not the reason for getting the new equipment either.
Well, I
Let's
know
just put
that,
that out
I
there.
know that, thank you.
and we've got a dehumidifier in there too. So
It's just odd. The carpet isn't wet, the walls are not,
Mhm.
it's not obvious. It's very weird. But it's obvious that it's.
one of the
from
things that
bottom up.
concerned me that I talked to Dave about was
Mhm.
because we spent all that money to dry out the walls.
Correct. Which I thought had worked, actually.
Well, yeah, and so I was confused at any rate. They got a handle on it.
Yeah, I had noticed some crackage in and out there. I kind of wondered why that was.
I think that was when they did the new carpet. They used a lot of glue and
Oh, so it's
Then they
glue
had-
tracks.
Yeah.
something, because they had to go back in and clean
Mhm,
all of that. Dave wasn't happy with it. Jason cleans that up though.
Yeah, I had said to him about that and he said he had a 10 ball and he was gonna do something about it. So we'll see how that goes.
He
Okay,
did it.
good, good. So the maintenance supervisor cannot be here today, so we'll have to go to the county engineer. Morning.
Good morning, supervisors. It's the first Monday of the month, so of course we had some snow. Didn't amount to a whole lot, but we did send the guys out this morning just to make sure there were no problem areas. A couple guys are out longer than others. Josh came over for our monthly safety meeting and trained the guys on use of the tourniquet systems that are available. So we're going to have a tourniquet in each of our vehicles in case there is a instance where they need them. Josh also just did some basic first aid training with the guys. Took about an hour with us, and I was very grateful. He did a great job of reinforcing the first aid training that the guys have had. And guys had some good questions. Josh is a very knowledgeable person with a lot of real world experience, so it was time well spent. See, we're getting our contract rock maps set up. I think that's later on the agenda. We'll
It is.
talk
It's
about
next-
that.
it's next.
Let's see what else we got going on. Still working on the 5-year program. Trying to figure out which bridges are in most need, based on load capacity, current condition, and traffic. It's not that I'm having trouble finding one, it's that I'm having trouble sorting through which ones to address first. But, this coming year, we'll have a couple more projects where we either do tank cars or on level Bs, possibly add a couple low water stream crossings. When we get that a little more narrowed down, I'll bring that to your attention. Let's see, we've got the contract awarded for Libertyville Road, and now it's the paperwork process. Nor's getting back with their certificates of insurance, bond, and subcontractors. I'll wait till we get to the next item.
Oh, okay. So I have a question, you've been following legislature. Much my sugar, I guess, but one of the things that the Senate's talking about is,
I know.
and I confess, I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about indexing gas taxes for roads.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay, so most sales tax are based on the value of the product sold, whereas the road use tax, fuel taxes are just a fixed rate per gallon. So the last time they raised the fuel tax was, I think, 2015.
Okay.
And at that point, they added an additional dime and they changed some of the formulas, but so in 10 years, that dime stayed a dime.
Okay.
And what they're looking at doing is because they have such a hard time actually coming back and raising the fuel tax, they are proposing to index it to inflation. So if the consumer price index goes up 2% in a year, the fuel tax will go up 2%. And then that way it will help to keep pace with inflation, and they don't have the big lift of doing a dime every 20 years. But it will just slowly increase as prices increase, and then they don't have to revisit that. Something they probably should have done 30 years ago, but.
Well, it's ironic because I had, believe it or not, I had this exact conversation with the governor at the time on WHO radio's area. And told him that there was, this didn't take into account for inflation.
Yeah. And that's been the case, for years. And the last time they raised the fuel tax, prior to that, they had raised the vehicle registration fees. So the road use fund was getting more money from vehicle registration fees than they were from fuel savings. So somebody who drove 3,000 miles a year was paying the same proportion or the same amount as somebody who was driving 30,000 miles a year. And that's paying it by a gallon is a more fair way to pay it than, just by the licensing fees, other than the electric vehicles, that's the only way to capture any revenue. But
So just very, very quickly, how is the formula established in terms of determining what we get as opposed to Polk County?
well, if I had a PhD in accounting, I could explain it to you.
That's what I figured.
It is a very dark, mysterious process. It's based on road miles, population, and traffic counts. So,
And obviously they have the population of the traffic account. We have
Yeah.
the road miles.
yeah. Yeah, it's not something that I think will be addressed anytime soon because, between the rural counties and the urban counties, it's probably not fair to us, but if they start messing with the formula again, then the lobbies that are the cities will also start throwing their hat in and wanting to get more
Right.
of the cut of the pie and again, cut the rural counties out.
Thank you. Anything else you would like to enlighten us on?
Have I enlightened you on anything?
Not really.
I've just told you what I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks, Dwayne. Thank you very much.
It's almost like being married here.
Okay.
No, it's not good.
Yeah, let's not go there.
This is
That's-
recorded.
Okay.
Contract wrong.
Contract rock, we've done a lot of discussion in-house and I think this year we are going to request the quarries to deliver the rock again. We tried it for a handful of years with us just doing all the hauling. And while it works out fairly well, our truck tractors are not reliable enough that all three of them run all the time, so we're being somewhat inefficient. So we're still gonna utilize the belly dumps and the truck tractors, but use them more for the spot hauling. Because then our people are doing it in the spots that need it done, as opposed to just the blow and go spreading rock, that then we can just designate one person to be out monitoring the truck spreading, and that frees up two people for either work on crews or spot rock hauling. And we're gonna keep the same 5,000 tons per greater district. And then also request a 10,000 ton stockpile hauled to the Jefferson County Yard. So
How
that
much you said?
10,000 pounds. So we're going to increase the quantity that's under the contract. But that 10,000 ton is rock that we're gonna use for spot rock anyway. We generally tend to use almost as much in spot rock as we do in the contract rock. And this is just, since we always have a loader at the shop, that way they can load the trucks up when we need them, and you don't have the time loss going back and forth to the quarry. And generally when the quarries haul the rock for us, they give a super cheap haul rate. It's been what our history has been. It's just always been an issue of them supplying enough trucks, but we'll have the contracts and the bids worded so that they have to supply us with at least 6 trucks or they won't haul that day. Because otherwise you end up with guys sitting out on the road and not getting any material to them. And that's the way it was the first year I got here. And that's why we went into hauling it ourselves and trying different things to make it more efficient. We'll have that, hopefully we'll have that ready for next week for you guys to approve it so we can get it let out for bid.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dwayne.
But basically just one, right?
Southwest part of the county will get quotes from Pantera. So, and that's, they also might be interested in the stockpiling, so. They have a longer haul, but they're usually more aggressive on pricing, so. That stockpiling is also something that can be done more as a filler type job, because it doesn't need to have as much babysitting.
Thank you. I believe the ambulance director is next on the agenda.
Think so. All right. So I don't really have a lot to talk about this morning. Everything's still kind of in holding pattern as it has been. Did get back a response from Dr. Lissy regarding he was going to reach out to Life Point, the mothership of the Tomo Hospital, to figure out if his insurance would extend to a medical director position here. He said that he hasn't had any really substantial conversations with them, but he has a meeting with them today, I think. So hopefully we know a little bit more by this afternoon or evening. So again, still kind of on hold on that, but hopefully we're coming to a resolution here pretty quick to be able to get that moving forward. If we can just, I don't know, if we can just mimic what I think Dr. Curtis has, as far as, because he's the medical director for all the volunteer services. I think that would be the simplest way to go, but that's about my pay grade. Other than that, staffing is still good. No other updates. Still waiting on a response from the state regarding the training program. It's been almost 3 weeks since I emailed her and haven't yet to receive a response. So that's starting to boil over. I did have a question posed. So we had the EMS Advisory Council last week. They wanted me to ask if any of you were appointed to that committee, or if that has been a discussion.
I'm on the committee.
You are on that committee? Okay.
Not that it couldn't change, but
Well, no, I don't think that was, they were just curious to know, because I know there were discussions recently about committee changes and things. Yeah,
no, nothing changed.
okay.
Do you want to offer that committee?
No,
Have you been attending?
off and on, yes. But as you know, there are several of us that have some medical issues, Joe. There are several of us that also have conflicts with meetings.
I'm not trying to poke a bear
Yeah,
or
I
anything. I was just, yeah.
It's not you.
I just asked.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I've got. So I'll have numbers for you next week for the January
Okay.
runs and whatnot. So
So I had a conversation with Darcy, and she can probably better enlighten us on this, but our rig is done.
yes.
So, but evidently they were wanting a credit card.
Yeah, we got it resolved. I mean, they accepted the check. So yeah, that was just a bunch of back and forth, and it's just, I think it's their standard up there, because it's an RV shop, so it's all commercial. I don't know that they do a lot of work for municipalities. So the guy that I was working with, he's like, I'll just ask forgiveness if it was wrong. So they accepted the check and we got the truck back. So
And seems to be.
yeah, no issues reported so far. Cody drove it back on Friday and didn't have any issues.
We have a
So-
warranty, you know.
I don't know. I would imagine, but I
Okay.
haven't looked at
You
the
can make a
paperwork.
check on.
Yep,
that.
absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
That's a lot of money. I mean, it
Oh, absolutely.
infinitely cheaper than new ambulance.
Yes.
But my point is
Yep.
that, you know, we should be able to have some type of, 36 hours or one day, whichever comes first.
Right, yeah, for sure. He did say too, and we'll probably continue to go up there, because I don't know that it's happened, is all of the liquid springs are supposed to be checked annually,
Oh.
and I don't know that that's happened. I know
Remember it.
53 is the newest rig we have, and I don't think it's been up for servicing, at least in my tenure. So
I mean, obviously we take everything out to Fessler's because it's under warranty, but I don't know if that's something they look at or not.
I'm not sure.
Because that's a modified, so that wouldn't fall under the manufacturer.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's something we should figure out though.
Yes. Yep. And he said, I mean, we could just if we take a trip up there, a patient up there, we can just stop by and have them do the servicing whenever. It doesn't take
That'd
that
be
long
handy.
yeah. So we'll work something out where it's not a huge chunk of time where we're down a rig. So,
Anything else?
no, that's all I got.
I know Shannon had came in on Thursday and I had signed the bill for it because they needed pay.
Oh, yep. Yeah, that was,
So I'm very happy to see that you went right up and got it.
yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I was eager to get it back. So
Any other questions for Josh?
thanks, Chrissy.
Next item on the agenda is to meet with Jerry Leonard to discuss and consider office rent. Melissa, can you hear me? Is Jerry in the office? Why don't we move on and see if Jerry shows up? Do you guys have a problem with that?
Nope, move on.
Meet with Alex Schmidt McCunis regarding annual report and FY 27 funding. What?
Morning. Mind if I sit with you?
Yep,
Not
not
at all.
down.
I think I have either one of the two if you want.
Thanks. Well, I haven't met with you in a little while, so if it's okay, I'm going to take a little time to discuss with you our accomplishments over the last year and
We have,
okay, wonderful. Well, I want to start off by thanking you for the opportunity to speak today, and want to appreciate you for your continued financial support of the Fairfield Public Library. The county's investment in this current year of $44,288, in addition to the $3,000 you provided for the Read to Recovery program, which we now have received that display shelf for, and it's not out in the library yet. We're still kind of putting it together and getting some signage for it. It took forever to get this thing made, probably 2.5 to 3 months, because it was custom built. But it's really exciting, and I really appreciate that
Alex, to be
special
clear, that
funding.
was with the upgrade funding.
Right.
Through the supervisors.
Exactly, yeah. And wanted to just share that my goal today is to touch on the county's role in library funding, briefly review our successes in fiscal year 25, and request a continuation of the same funding level for fiscal year 27. Under Iowa Code Chapter 392, counties share responsibility for supporting public library service, particularly for residents living outside living outside of incorporated areas who rely on city libraries for access to materials and services. Iowa law currently requires that each county and each city levy a tax of at least 6.75 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value to support the public library that serves that jurisdiction. County funding ensures that these residents receive library services without the city of Fairfield bearing those costs alone. Jefferson County's funding is an essential and appropriate component of the library's operating budget. I want to talk now about some accomplishments and the measurable impact. Fiscal year 25 was one of the strongest years of service in the library's history, with growth across nearly every metric. At this point, too, I can pass out this little PDF of a PowerPoint. You can pass that to Susie. Okay. This is similar to what I shared with this city a couple of weeks ago. So in terms of use and activity, we had last year, over the course of the year in visits, 91,323 visits. That was an increase of about 11,000 visits compared to the past year. So you can see that the people are more and more remembering or even be realizing for the first time the value of the library, and that's really, really exciting for us. We also had over 113,000 checkouts. That was that statistic compared to the year before. In youth services alone, meaning juvenile fiction, picture books, we had over 800 more checkouts each month last year than the year before. Out of those checkouts, about 17,000 of them were rural Jefferson County users. Isn't that incredible? I was really astounded and so happy by those reports. Also wanted to share that we had 793 in-person programs, and we had 11,580 attendees over the course of the year. These numbers indicate strong, consistent use of the library as a public service. Want to also share about cost savings. Oh, actually, borrowers and cost savings. So the library currently serves 5,824 active borrowers, meaning they have used the library in the last 3 years. Of those, 878 reside in unincorporated areas of Jefferson County. 878. I want to also note that the library produces substantial direct savings to residents. So all those residents that use the library and borrow these things and use our free services rather than purchase things themselves and pay others for these services. In fiscal year 25, by a very conservative estimate, residents saved $7,354,550 by borrowing materials and using our free resources. With an annual operating budget of approximately $500,000, this represents an extraordinary return on investment for taxpayers. I want to next talk about the circulation and programming highlights. Overall, circulation increased 7% last year from fiscal year 24. Youth services circulation increased 56%. The Summer Reading Challenge logged 441 participants. There were 124 programs in just 2.5 months. Over the course of those summer months in the program, there were 487 attendees at special events. And the children of Fairfield read over 5,000 hours together. And what's also very impressive is that our children's librarian, Sarah Martindale, was able to raise from local businesses and donors almost $6,000 to pay for presenters, performers, materials. It was a really successful last year. I want to also talk about our operations efficiency and improvements to the building as well as software related improvements. So we successfully migrated to the Koha integrated library software system. It improves efficiency for us and it reduces long-term operating costs, saving the city annually, the city and the county, $15,000 a year. But one thing I will say is last year, after the library board submitted our proposed budget to the city, we were asked to reduce our budget by over $50,000. We had to reduce one of our full-time people at the front desk to 28 hours from 40, which has put a strain on our staff. But we did not have to reduce our hours, which we were all really happy about. But to time everything right in terms of that Koha transition, because the thing is, our old software, the $20,000 one, was expiring August 1st. June and July are our busiest times of the year, and 2 of our most capable librarians were extremely busy running the summer reading program. I did have some support from from 3 librarians on staff, but it was me running this migration and trying to get everything in place and trying to rebuild a system for the public that was similar enough to what we had before. It was extremely challenging, but we managed to do it. We timed everything just right, and we were actually able to get special funding from the foundation to prepay that software company, the new software company. So that was also a strain that the city and the county didn't have to take this year. But it's a $5,000 system, which is about as inexpensive as they get. But we had to do a lot of kind of custom building of it, for that reason. Also wanted to share about the critical building repairs we completed last year. We had the skylight replaced by Bridge Construction. That skylight had been leaking for probably close to a decade, and it was actually, the walls were stained and The drywall tape was popping out. It was starting to look really bad. We wanted to have book displays in that area in front of the front desk, but water would leak on the books. We have to, quickly move the books away when rain was falling. So it was so good to get that skylight replaced. We also had the roof patched in several areas because it seems as though maybe when the roof was initially installed about 30 years ago, maybe there were some mistakes made at that time that led to some sort of weak places, especially like in the joint areas. And then we also had to repair some wastewater drains, which was a major expenditure. But I guess the building. There's been some settling actually, and the slope of some drains is not what they once were. So it was some slope mitigation, and we actually put in an additional clean out so that a plumber can more easily get in and clear clogs. Also wanted to share that we secured $13,330 in state grant funding for the Tribune digitization, and Greater Jefferson County Foundation funds have helped for that as well. We're still about $4,000 short in paying off the work that's done, but the Tribune is fully filmed now and digitized. And if you search for Fairfield, Iowa Digital Archives, you can search the whole Tribune now with searchable PDFs. Next, I just want to briefly touch on the library's renewal project. With the building now being 30 years old, normal wear is becoming increasingly visible. Worn and the carpet looks aged and is worn throughout the building. The lighting fixtures are outdated. There is broken and uneven concrete on the north side of the building that presents pretty serious safety concerns. And our roof will need to be replaced within the next 5 to 10 years. We are going to continue. We're going to patch it one more time, which should get us maybe 5-ish years. Hopefully, we're hoping like 8. But the good news is the patch we put on last year is holding, and we haven't had any leaks since then. So to address these issues responsibly, the library has begun a building renewal project focused on planning for deferred maintenance, preventing larger, more expensive repairs later on, and maintaining the value of this major public asset. The library is pursuing this work through a shared funding approach, where we will be connecting with local donors in the hopes of receiving private gifts. We will be pursuing grants for nonprofits, and there's also financial commitment in the form of pledges to give from library trustees and foundation directors. I also wanted to share that I spoke with the head of fundraising at the Iowa City Public Library, and when I shared what our goal was, she said she had no doubt we would be able to raise those funds. To ensure careful planning before any major expenditures, the library has been working with MSR Design, an award-winning Minneapolis-based architecture firm, and we are now preparing to issue requests for proposals for concept master plans to about 5 Midwest-based firms. This step ensures decisions are deliberate, cost-conscious, and based on professional assessment rather than emergency repairs. Finally, I wanted to share our fiscal year 27 funding request. Today, we respectfully request that Jefferson County maintains its current level of support, representing $44,288 in general operating funds. If there is any funding that is more flexible at any point over the course of the next 6 months the first 6 months of fiscal year 27, we are still short in terms of our Fairfield Tribune microfilm and digitization project. That's $4,132 still that we're short. But this is about a $20,000 project. We've raised most of the funds so far. I know that we're so different from Wapello County, but in Wapello County, their county was able to fully fund their microfilming projects. So it's just something to consider, but I completely understand if the funds are not there. What we really are concerned about is continuing to maintain that current level of funding at $44,288. County funds support essential non-discretionary costs, including gas and electric utilities, staffing required to operate the building and serve the public, ongoing building maintenance and necessary repairs. These funds are not used for expansion or non-essential projects. They sustain a heavily used public service that delivers strong value to county residents. In closing, I want to thank the Board of Jefferson County's continued partnership with the Fairfield Public Library. Your support helps ensure responsible stewardship of public funds, cost savings for residents, continued service to both city and county taxpayers, and protection of an important public facility. We are committed to operating efficiently, planning carefully, and providing measurable value in return for the county's investment. Thank you so much for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You guys have any questions or comments?
I got two. One on the Tribune, is that the stuff that we brought over from Walker's years ago?
Right.
Okay. There's got to be some slow work in terms of not tearing those pages when you're.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They actually, due to how very delicate the pages were, I mean, they would crack off if you tried to turn them at this point. Advantage Archives out of Cedar Rapids that has done the work for us. They're like the industry leader in Iowa, actually one of the national industry leaders for this work. They actually had to cut the bindings on these books, but they did it very carefully and they returned the books to the museum after the work was done.
I don't know, those books were way back. You've ever been in the basement of Walker's office supplies, when you go down in the basement, you go to your right and you go all the way back and then you go to your left and then you go to your left again and then there's.
Amazed.
Well, there is definitely was a cubby way back in the back. And I don't know what we were in there for one day back there looking for something and we discovered this little desk-like thing. And stacked on this desk were these hard-bound volumes of the Tribune newspaper. And they were, if I recall correctly, they were like a weekly, one big sheet was 1 week type thing.
Mm.
And one of the things that I ran across it when I started reading is how far back these went, that there was a story in there about the death of Billy the Kid. And so Ross and Judy, we got to dig together and started transferring this stuff to, well, evidently to the museum first or
Right.
whatever. But
Maybe it was, I wonder what year that was when you discovered them and transported them.
well, boy, I don't know. It,
2000s?
well, probably because I worked for Ross for 33 years. And I don't even remember now when we closed. I think it's been 12, 13 years since we closed.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah. Documents like that belong at the museum. I'm glad that they are
They
stewarded.
they included that they were even back there. I'm sure Ross didn't either.
Mhm.
And the upside to that, or the, not the upside, but the blessing, I guess you'd say, was I'm sure they probably were over in the Tribune printing building at one time.
Mhm.
And considering that building collapsed, a likelihood that those probably would have been ruined. So it was fortuitous on one level that they were where they were at.
Mhm.
Then the other question I had is in regards to the roof. Are you considering a metal roof?
It's one consideration, yeah. But that one estimate we got is 300,000 for the roof, for a replacement metal roof, and then an additional maybe 70,000 for the gutter. And the gutter is in really, really poor condition as well. Not this winter, but the winter before, when we had that really heavy snow, a sheet of snow just basically partially ripped the gutter off the main street side of the building, we've had it reattached. We've had two different companies try to reattach it a little better, but right now it's just so cobbled together. But we do have some funding from the city this year, and it's not enough to fully replace the gutter, and that we don't want to, because we know that if we're going to replace it with a metal gutter, or maybe regardless, we want to do the gutter and the roof at the same time. So we're going to use some of the funds this year to replace the worst condition areas of the gutter. And it's important because when it rains, it's just like a waterfall, especially on the Main Street side. And we don't want there to be any foundation damage from that water coming down.
So I would ask, that when you submit bids or go out for bids or whatever, and I understand, you know, you're gonna want to take the low bid, but, that there are several local contractors here that can handle a lot of the work, and I would I would love to see local contractors those jobs wherever possible.
Like Jefferson County
Yeah.
local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I'll follow up with you maybe if we have some recommendations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay, will do, appreciate it.
Any other questions? Alex, thanks for your presentation. It's
Thank
very
you.
enlightening.
Thank you so much.
And we will consider this in the
Thank you.
budget process.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care,
Appreciate
everybody.
it. Yep.
Jerry, we can go back to you.
Okay, sorry, people.
It's okay.
I mean, Abby's always good to send me the agenda. I mean, last week, it was the end of the quarter report time for HHS people I deal with, so we kind of dug into that, or I have to really look at my emails. You have your copy of that.
That's what I was looking for. Right there. So the only question I had last time we talked to Dad was, there's a lot of stuff in here that I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, we had a question regarding the wording about the utilities and services and so on and so forth. And I didn't know if we were going to clean that up, or was it just because it was confusing to
It
me?
was. What is your opinion?
Well, I just think, and I don't know, maybe it has to be this way. I just think, Elizabeth, I'm going to pick on you. If that's okay. It just seems like there's a lot in here that I'm not sure. I mean, I get it, but I thought this needed to be cleaned up where it says tenant shall pay for all utilities and services which may be used on the premises. To me, that's confusing because the utilities and stuff are there. The rent would go to help offset that as far as that part would go. We had that conversation with, I think, Louise. Really was on it.
He is on.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there is. Okay. And so, I don't know, I was just confused with the way that was worded. So I thought that needed to be cleaned up but I mean, as far as I don't know, did you have a chance to look at it, Jerry?
No, did you send that also to me? I guess I didn't see that email also.
Well, yeah, it was sent out some time ago, a couple of weeks ago. We had a conversation with you, but I can send it with you, that you can look at it.
Yes, that'd be great. I guess, no, I did not. Did it come from Susie or you
No.
or Chauncey?
I think Ed drafted it, maybe around the 19th. Is that when you have?
Yeah.
'Cause I can't open mine, unfortunately.
I
So
want to give that to Elizabeth. I can print out another copy if you want to.
I don't have it here. Took it home and left it there.
I'll just print out one, see.
I mean, this is a pretty boilerplate lease. I think it's Iowa State Bar Association, it looks like document, so that we can and should edit it to make sure that it is more appropriate for the situation, whatever it is that you guys decide you would like to include in it.
So we need to look at it. You need to look at it and figure out the right thing. It's just-
Well, and I would also, of course, defer to you guys on what you think might be important to have in the lease. So, you know, to Lee's point, if you think that the rent offsets some of those utilities and you don't think that utility language needs to be in there, then that's something we'd amend.
Yeah, see, to me, it's kind of simple and straightforward as far as I'm concerned is, environmental health services would pay $100 a month rent for the space and then we talked about that $100 going back into
The roads
the
department.
roads department. And
Yeah. I was hoping that it would be pretty straightforward, one pager.
yeah,
You guys may. But again,
and it just, I mean, I don't know, for me personally, I don't think it needs to be.
There's too much in there for me too. And
Yeah.
it just needs to be cleaned up.
Again, I think that it was, he just sent kind of, you know, how sometimes I would send you guys like too much information and say, why don't you tell me what you want and don't want? And I realize you guys don't like that. So I think Ed was maybe giving you a little bit more. But it's very easy to just amend that. I would want to know, and I apologize if these are things you've discussed with Ed. Obviously, he's out of town for the next few weeks, but like how long you would like that lease to be in existence, what other terms, and what I can do if you want, I can just take that and I can change it and then send it to you guys for your notes. And then you can individually tell me what you'd like me to change.
what I'd like to see is, I mean, if you want it as a lease, and I just hypothetically here, we'll say it's a 6-month lease or it's a 1-year lease, however you want to. But that we have a 60-day out clause. Because if his circumstances change or he moves to a different location or whatever, I don't want to lock him in to that lease rate. By the same token, circumstances could change where he needs to move on because we need the space for something else or whatever.
60-day out clause then for both parties.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about it. And just, $100 a month and that sort of thing. He's got insurance. He's provided it to the auditor's office and all of that, so. I personally don't think it needs to get too convoluted. I make it as easy as possible and then, I would guess you just make the check payable to Jefferson County auditors.
Is that then monthly or quarterly? Yes,
Well, I
probably.
guess it would. What would Darcy prefer? What would you prefer?
I'd probably prefer quarterly. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that if the board doesn't.
So Elizabeth, can you have this ready for next Monday
Sure,
for this on the agenda?
sure.
Now, Abby, do I remember that next Monday, the ISAC folks are coming? Is that next Monday?
Sorry,
Today's the
Yes.
second. Okay.
I believe that's correct.
Which just means we would probably wait to start our meeting until we knew they were gone. We projected.
They're coming at 9:30. 9:30 to 11, ISAC is coming.
So if we don't have much on the agenda, we could start at 7:30. Okay, 8.
So we could
You
start the
gonna make
lease.
coffee?
When do you want the lease to begin? There been any?
Originally, we talked about back to November 1st when we started talking.
Why don't we just, to get this through with everything, because we're not, how about just March 1st?
Or February 15th, or,
So I'm gonna make that.
Yeah.
because if we get it taken care of.
Let's start it at February 1st.
Okay,
February 1st,
That'd be fine, you know.
that's
I
Sunday.
agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I know,
yesterday.
just
Yeah.
yesterday, I know. So
Okay.
let's just start. I do have a little bit of a question though about the length of it. I think that Ed must have gotten mixed up when I had a couple visits with him. He has the lease going into 28. My contract with Board of Health was just 3 years.
Okay.
So we wouldn't want that either in that.
No, I just think that,
1 year.
well, yeah, okay, you set for 1 year with the 60-day out clause.
Right.
Do we want maybe like automatic renewal language in there, or do you guys want to review it every year?
I see
Automatic
no problem
renewal.
with automatic because
We've
obviously
got
we have
60
issues.
day
with
out
the-
either way, so
Yeah, okay.
automatic.
And
that
so,
work?
I'm sorry, when does your term expire?
It would be a year from this October coming up, so, you know, I roughly have another. 18
October
months.
2027 then?
Yeah,
Okay.
And from our perspective, or let me put it this way, from my perspective, I don't see the board being terribly inflexible on the 60-day thing if the circumstances
that-
dictate it.
I'm a little concerned also about that, because again, if you did want the space, you know, you'd go find another office, have to get all them files moved to that new office.
Right.
That might take a little bit of time again, because again, the logistics of that office, you know, everybody knows where the county office is at. If I
Well,
start,
my main concern was not wanting to lock somebody in for
yeah,
a year.
yeah, we could have some sort of lingo where, you know, it's an agreement to, you know, if it's 60 days works, we know it's coming, you know, or if it has to be 90 days, somehow we can have that extension of sorts. Because again, we would have to talk to the Board of Health and how the hot files would get moved. You know, how.
So we could put a 60-day out clause unless otherwise approved by the board of supervisors. Or something to that effect.
That or just an agreement, extended agreement. Said it was another 60 days or whatever it was to find that spot to go. Because again, I thought about it, you know, when I took the position, I thought about right downtown here on Court Street, that whole thing.
But conversely, see, if you were to look at it, well, I know what you're saying, if we decided there was another need for the space or something, okay, I get that, okay. I was thinking the other way, that you would know ahead of time before you gave the 60-day notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, you're stuck with me. I ain't going nowhere and
Well,
kick me.
I'm just saying that I believe that if we have the 60-day notice in there and the board has the flexibility to extend that, however, that would vote.
I would probably word it kind of like 60 days or like 2 months, because I imagine that would just be cleaner too with the rent. If you find out, you know, the middle of the month, you give him the rest of that month and then the 60 days.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Anyway, just
Okay.
thinking out loud.
I appreciate the use of it because it's real convenient and it's good for the public again to know, you know, hey, I'm at the county engineer's office. Even though some of them can't seem to find it. The person there on Saturday couldn't find it.
So we're gonna have Dwayne put a siren on top of it.
Lee mentioned about the electricity stuff. Do we need something in there that the utilities are furnished at the building or anything, or just $100 good enough?
I mean, I could
I
say.
mean, I don't know. It's
No.
down the road, somebody gonna question why we're furnishing him electricity and stuff.
The $100 would include rent and utilities for that.
Includes rent and
Just-
utilities.
just
Do
as
we,
simple as that.
would you like to explain or specify which utilities, or, I mean, does that include? I don't know. But it's fine. We can just say, you know, $100 a month for rent and utilities.
Yeah, I'd leave it as the utilities. Well, how would we meter them in the first place?
Yeah, we couldn't do that.
It would, again, make it a messier
Then
thing.
prorate everything.
Yeah.
Well, and the
This is
reality of it
clean.
is, if you're not there, it's still being used. So, and the idea, I think the board's idea was that this $100, which like I say, would go to the roads department. It's not gonna make or break them, but it goes to the roads department. So in theory,
Okay, so this, you will get this to us. It'll be on the agenda for next Monday. Somewhere.
at 9:45.
I thought we were going for 7:30.
After you get stuff drawn up, should we meet with you toward the end of the week to discuss, or you just send it out to us with approval,
We
or?
could do it one of two ways. I can just send it to you all individually and then you could give me your notes on it and then I can work those in. That might be easiest unless you want to set another meeting and
Not necessarily, I'm just asking if it would,
it's whatever the board pleases, honestly, whatever you guys would prefer.
I think you should just email us individually.
Okay,
And
happy to do.
And
And to
to
Jerry as
yes, of
well, yeah.
course.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd be great, set, and that, yeah, then we could go get it signed.
Perfect.
All right, sorry again, guys, but not watching your agenda.
it was on last.
We don't look at money. I'm kidding. Thank you, Jerry, for coming in. Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
You guys have a great week.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, everybody.
Next item on the agenda is
May I
to,
have that? Do you want it?
Oh, I might have a copy of it.
Well, this is not, I'm gonna change it.
Yeah, that's
It's not gonna be
It's
this.
gonna be extremely changed, just again, dates of important
Okay.
dates he changed.
Mhm.
the next item on the agenda is discuss, consider pay increase for precinct election officials. And I do have an opinion on this.
Okay.
We're gonna take them up to $10 an hour, $1 an hour,
11 and 10.
11 and 10, which I think is, these people sit there all day long. They pit up with people like us. This is,
That amounts to, based on the 2022 election, because it'll be similar.
yeah.
$1,000.
which,
Total for just $1,000 total increase?
Yeah,
so my question to the supervisors, would you do this for $11, $10 or $11 an hour? Would you sit here 12 hours? 16. I stand corrected. We need to appreciate these people. Lee, you're
Let me-
speechless. I can't believe
let me
that.
answer
If there was no
Question.
repercussions to our actions.
I am very impressed with the folks that we have out there, and
So am I.
far be it for me to want to upset that apple cart. So I'm just very grateful for the people that we have that are.
I am
running,
too.
And I would not want to take that thrill of a lifetime from them. So
So, okay. Do you think $1 is enough?
do I think,
Do you think $1 is enough?
not particularly, no,
Mhm.
but again, of course, some of that's paid for by the people that are holding the election, right? In other words, if it was a special election, if it was a
Yeah,
city
city,
election,
yeah.
then they're billed for that, and only the ones that were.
it's all us for general when we,
Right, no, I get that.
Yeah.
But but frankly, if the question is another $1 an hour and it's an additional $1,000, so $2,000
Mhm.
once every couple of years,
Mhm.
I think they're more than well worth it.
As do I. Is that a motion?
We get an increase our budget.
Is that a motion?
So let me read the motion, so I'll insert the numbers. It was moved by and seconded by that the Board of Supervisors of Jefferson County approve the pay increase for precinct election official chairman to $12 an hour, and for the precinct election officials to $11 per hour, effective February 2nd, 2026. So that's a motion I would make.
I would second that motion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, guys.
Do you want me to change the numbers, or do you want to?
We'll probably get you a new one.
Okay, so we don't need to sign this right now.
Correct.
I appreciate these folks that sit there all day long deserve this.
I do too.
I tell them often that they are the face of election day.
Absolutely.
Not that one.
Unless something's wrong and then you are.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
It's not lost on me, though. we had a special election here a couple months back. And there was some concerns and so I'm thankful for our law enforcement, for our deputies and stuff that came in on that, but for those people in particular, but you know, when they went through all of that and all of the hiccups and everything they had, and they brought her flowers and they brought her candy, which is a testament to.
You got candy?
Ah,
Did.
So my point simply is that, the quote, working relationship between the auditor's office and the folks that do this is phenomenal. And we've got folks that have been doing this for an awful long time that I don't think would have hung around if it hadn't been for.
Do any of you folks work elections? Just curious.
I appreciate him very much too.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. I think we're going to move on to, oh dear, committee reports.
All right.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So, I had a Area 15 Regional Planning and Ready meeting. So Ready is, for those that don't know, it's an organization that's in Region 15 that's associated with Area 15 Regional Planning. And we make loans to businesses, startup businesses. We recently made a loan to, Don Rodolinski for the expansion of his business. So those are the kind of things we do. And we help fill in the certain places, and generally we take, the equipment is one of the not assets, but collateral. If they get, that sort of thing. But by the same token, we're not always successful. And so this last week, Camp 365, which is a company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, I believe, or St. Paul. And they bought a building in Albion, Monroe County, and they were going to build campers. And they weren't successful, but we're still trying to recoup the money for that. Another company called Oskaloosa Manufacturing. And another company called Spring Sunrise Natural Foods. So while we're successful most of the time, in this particular instance with these three entities, we're not, and there's a significant amount of money out there, whether we're able to collect or not, it's probably not likely at this point, but so in the RPC meeting, a couple of things I wanted to point out was that the down payment assistance program for homeowners. So we'll loan up to $10,000, which is, how do I want to say this? I want to make sure I say this right. 10% of the cost of the property. So for example, you buy a property for $250,000. We'll loan up to 10% or $10,000, whichever is less. So the maximum we'll loan for that is $10,000. It's 3% for 120 months. So it's a real low interest rate for an extended period of time, which helps. But it gives people, and there's not a lot of requirements in terms of have to be a resident in the region and you have to work in the region. So for example, you can be a resident of Jefferson County and you're buying in the county you're a resident of. But you can work in Van Buren County because Van Buren County is part of the region. So so that's something that I think that it doesn't get out there enough. And so also want to point out, Joe sits on Local Housing Trust Fund. And so there were 4 homes assisted in Jefferson County for $36,150. What that is that very low, there's outright grants or no interest loans or low interest loans for people to put roofs on their houses or HVAC or or whatever, and what is that? I think it's 5 years, I think is the term of the loan.
I think it is, yeah.
We also loan money to Habitat for Humanity, that sort of thing. We're involved in the prison industry's homes, like you see the two that have been located here in Fairfield. We're involved in that program. So Fairfield, city of, you're probably familiar with this. You got a community development block grant contract approved. The application is due May 26th. It's a $500,000 application. So what they entered into an agreement with Area 15 to approve the grant for this community development block grant for a sewer project. I talked a little bit earlier about Camp 365 and Spring Sunrise Foods and manufacturing. So the outstanding balance on the Oskaloosa manufacturing is 169,000. Outstanding balance on Camp 365 is 315,000 plus, and the outstanding balance on or I'm sorry, that's on the two that are in default. Spring Rise Natural Foods, which is Don Revelinsky. We loaned them $250,000 for equipment and expansions.
How much did you say?
250,000.
Six.
And there was some other things I guess I made note of, but I think that's all I had, other than didn't we? Yeah, we had conference board, so we
That's
met with the assessor to go over his budget. So that's all I got.
So, of course, I had conference board last Tuesday. And I also had CETA on Monday night. And CETA's outlook right now is very good. But when they do projects, of course, they always put some money back. Things don't cost as much, but it looks like if things don't change, they could be in big trouble in 3 years. I said 3, Joe, yes. And that's sad because that's Head Start. It's all the little things that they do for folks that are low income. And we'll just wait and see.
That was an entity that, as I sat on the board at the time,
Mhm.
and we were, and actually it was on the Regional Housing Trust Fund, and those two entities
Mhm.
worked together so that we didn't overlap, so that the funding was, there was more funding available to more people rather than duplication of
Mhm.
a process. So they did weatherization programs, so we didn't get into the weatherization programs.
Correct.
So, and we had local contractors here that handled that. I don't know if they still do that very much.
Yeah, I think so. But the issue is they aren't doing as much so they can put back more, so they can make it last longer. It's basically that in a nutshell.
Yeah.
The other meeting I was at was a workforce meeting. And as I said last time, the regions, with the workforce meeting, we're now in the eastern Iowa region. The big concern is the possibility of letting the community colleges go to a 4-year school. I mentioned that before, or moving them to a 4-year school, which I don't think anybody realizes. You take somebody to a 4-year school from a 2-year school, you've got to almost have double your expenses. Of course, your physical thoughts will still be there, but the academic part of it, the liberal arts part of it will increase, because obviously any vocational thing will still stay the same.
Right.
And so that's a concern of how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I can see where it would be problematic.
Yeah.
I can go into a long diatribe about,
Please don't.
okay.
So I got a question on that. Is it the community colleges that's wanting to do the 4-year, or is it the state?
It's the state that is encouraging for community colleges to go to a 4-year school program.
What is the reasoning on that?
Other than stupid, I don't know.
Well, and I can't see how
I
it
mean-
would lower the cost.
That's what I was wondering, if it was cost or because there's too many now at the four-year colleges, it takes some burden off or.
You know, Joe, I think we'll all have our answer in about 3 years, but not right now. And that's why we're
I
just
don't-
continuing to discuss this. It's
I don't see how it's,
You just don't hear rumors about it or you don't.
Not yet.
Public.
not yet,
Okay.
so. I don't know. And there's a lot of talk about colleges need to train, even a four-year college, like University of Iowa, need to train for the workforce needs in the
Right.
state, which is a lot of what the community colleges have done. You know, all this talk about we don't need a four-year degree. Well, maybe you don't, maybe you do, but there's a lot of talk.
yeah, I'm there with you, you know, community colleges as it sits or as it stands, they fill a need, a niche, you know, four-year school. But I'm a firm believer that if you eliminated a lot of the peripheral classes that are required to quote, fulfill your credit hours for your degree. Perfect example. So my son went to four-year school in Rapid City, South Dakota for an engineering degree. And he had to take a humanities class and he had to take PE, half a credit for PE, but he had to pay for it. His humanities class consisted of, I am kidding you not, consisted of reading The Hobbit, watching the movie and comparing the movie to the book. $1,495 for that class, but it was a requirement to get a degree in mechanical engineering.
I mean, we could go on for
You bet.
a long time for the examples like
Yeah.
that. But if you'll notice, Indian Hills used to have continuing ed classes over here,
Yeah,
whether it was at
Yeah.
the old library
that's right.
or at the high school, they had them, or at the middle school, they had them.
Lincoln Center, didn't they have?
That's right. Well, that was when the alternative school was
Right?
Lincoln Center. None of that is here anymore.
No.
None of that. And some of them were pretty good. So as always, 3 years down the road, we'll realize what we should have done. Okay.
Yeah. Which is,
So in 3 years, I'll tell you what we should have done.
well, same thing with our early childhood program,
Absolutely.
which
Mhm.
in theory, according to what I'm reading, is going to go away July 1 of 27.
Yeah.
At least as we know it.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not a big fan of regionalization and they make the argument in here that CETA be the same way.
Right.
Ultimately, you take away the local component.
Yeah. And you know, back to the CETA thing, I should have mentioned also that the programs that are suffering right now would be the drug and alcohol programs that they do, you
Okay.
know, and gee whiz.
Well, and yeah, and they were, at least when I was at CETA, those were the ones that actually were generating revenue.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. So back to my diatribe of DHS. Used to be 5 ladies that sat over here, so, you know, social services, DHS. Now there's 17. That has to be, we're encompassing both counties, I think, all the counties.
so see, they don't have to climb stairs, so it's a more conducive.
If they go to the basement, they do.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I'm done. I'll quit.
I was third wheel on a conference board meeting with Steve. On Thursday, I went to Des Moines for the ISAC statewide supervisors meeting, and I talked to a lot of different supervisors, listened to a lot of woes, and some of the biggest gripes was about the unfunded mandates.
Don't say a word.
Another rumor, yeah, Lee, they got the same problem we do. And another rumor was about combining courthouses, eliminating half of the courthouses in the state, which would cost some jobs. What else did I write down here?
And once again, if they were to do that, it takes away the ability of the electorate to determine who represents them.
Yes, it does. And they got budget problems just like everybody else. And one of the things that stuck out in my mind, a sheriff in one of the lowest populated counties is requesting a $28,000 raise. Yes.
Well, of course they are.
And they can't see how to justify it, but I feel like they're almost going to be forced to have to do it or else suffer some consequences. And then I also sat at a table with a supervisor from Warren County. We got to talking about the beacon that Steve uses upstairs. And then another gentleman sat down and he was kind of one of the head ones in the office with Beacon. So I asked a lot of questions, learned a lot of different things about it. So
I personally like it because it's a lot easier to
Mhm.
use than what we used to have.
yeah. He told me how many counties is using it, and I don't remember now. I want to say about 50, about half of the counties are using it, but that's just a guess because I don't remember my notes on that. So other than that, I attended ball games about 3 or 4 times last week. So, and it was local games. It wasn't on TV. So
Did you get mama picked up?
yes, believe it or not, I pulled in and I sat there 2 minutes and the phone rang. They were picking up their luggage. So mom and her sister got back home, or Marianne and her sister got back. And they were very nice to me. They appreciated me picking them up.
Did they have suntan?
Okay, let's move on
It was
to
too cool
public
for that.
comments.
Oh, Susie, that's all I had.
Okay. I figured that. Any public comments?
I just wanted to ask, I heard, it's funny how many rumors are out there, right?
Not in this county.
I feel like with Indian Hills, there have been a lot of rumors. I don't know, people say Indian Hills is pulling out of Fairfield, but then I meet people who work there and they say, no, I haven't heard anything about that. But one rumor I heard was that they were going to kind of end the GED program in Jefferson County. Have you heard anything about that? Because one thought we had is, maybe the library could be involved somehow if the GED program did go away. Maybe we could reserve the meeting room for some period of time on a weekly basis for people studying for the test.
Alex, to your question, I see a lot of visibility from Indian Hills diminishing. But if I was you, I'd be proactive and call somebody up there that talks, that does with GED and stuff like that.
And I've heard absolutely, I haven't heard anything. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I just haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So I have a question when they're talking about moving community colleges to a 4-year.
Yeah.
What does that do for like the high school kids who take those credit classes to, diminish some of their costs to maybe going just to a 2-year or going to a 4-year?
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Thank you.
Right now, there's still a lot of kids at the high school
I know.
that take college classes
Yes,
and it costs them no money
yeah,
because they're
okay,
still in high school. I need to ask because I'm not real sure where that's at, but I would imagine that's not going to change.
I
Maybe
just
it'll
work
be
at
an
the high
online
school,
thing.
that's why I ask.
No, what do you
I
do?
work at the high school, that's why I
Can I
ask.
ask what you do?
I'm a para,
Good for you.
thanks.
So I would,
Abby would like your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brenda Deers, thank you.
so Brenda, the one thing I've always, and I don't know, I'm remiss in not reaching out, so I'm going to reach out to you.
Okay,
One of the things that the students and slash the parents should be alerted to, and I learned this because of my son Darren and another young man, I can't think of his dad's name, but also was, we went to 2 separate colleges, so it's a lot of times they take these classes and those credits are accepted, say for example, at Indian Hills. But when you go to a 4-year school, they are not accepted. And so you have to, they need, and the reason I say that is just, for example, all AP courses will be accepted at a four-year school. But my son, for example, one of the college credits he took was Introduction to Engineering. Here, very grateful to the school district that set that up. Worked with, Larry Schaefer from Agri Plastics was very much involved in that. Another young man, friend of my son Darren, also took those courses. He went to state. My son went to South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Neither one of them would recognize it. And the main reason is that what they indicated was, we don't know what was involved or included in that course. I don't know if there's any way that you can overcome that. I have no idea. I mean, it was valuable.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is that the Introduction to Engineering course that he took at School of Mines, the only difference was the software that they used. But his dean of engineering said, I don't know anything about it, so I can't accept it.
I do know we have a teacher that does intro to engineering. I mean, that's all like blueprinting and how you
Yeah.
do all that. And
Yeah.
I was able to be in one of the classes. And I found it very interesting because I didn't even know we had it because I worked as a parent, but not always in those classes.
My son and his friend was one of the first students take that because they were still in middle school. And then they went into high school, the first year it was offered.
Okay.
And so they jumped all over it. But my point is that, and it was very valuable, don't misunderstand.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was very good. But you think you've got a college credit and you can move into the next, you move past that particular class
And then they don't.
and they don't accept it.
I know that that used to be 15 Indian Hill centers in each, or each county. I know that's been diminished. I know that Van Buren has none now, Keokuk has none, Gordon has none, so it's shrinking.
Okay.
So at least we still have a presence.
Right.
The other thing I would say to you, if I was talking to a student, I would say, why don't you check to make sure this class will transfer?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
And again, the AP classes do. That
Right.
seems to be a nationwide recognized, just whatever you want to call it. Those, I don't want to say extracurricular classes, but those ones that don't have the AP label to it, whatever.
Yeah.
Again, readily accepted, or I mean, completely accepted at Hills, and you can go do a 2-year, can't think of the name of it now, but it's an engineering classes you can take there. But in those two instances, and Iowa State here in Iowa is a big engineering school, and they wouldn't accept it.
Okay. I mean, I knew about it because I did hear about it on the radio about like community colleges, smaller colleges moving to a 4-year. So I just was
Yeah.
sort of curious of what was.
yeah, but that hasn't, it's still
Yeah.
in infantile stages,
Okay.
but it concerns me, so I pay a lot of attention.
Okay.
Because I do think community colleges serve a purpose. You just have to drive up to Ottumwa. You have to, and here, if you could take a class here, it saves a lot of money
Yes.
for folks.
And I know some of the students have.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you have any questions, we're here every Monday morning.
Well,
I have to
this is the only
babysit
time
every
I've
Monday
been able
morning.
to come to one of these because I'm usually at the school.
today.
Huh?
There's no school.
Oh, there's no school today.
Yeah.
And that being said, we have a funeral today at 11 o'clock. And very sad. Any other questions? Oh, come on. Oh, I knew you would have something.
Of course. On behalf of the library, something that Alex really didn't hit upon is that there are services unlisted that are provided by the library. It's a warm place in the winter. It's a cool place in the summer. The library has worked really hard to have information about services for people who are searching, who maybe don't know which way to go, know really well for where food is available, where you can get a meal. And they readily, all of the staff are aware of those things. They readily help people with those types of things through the library and go even farther than that, which I know is pretty much the nature of small town Iowa, trying to help people. But that's something that isn't going to change, that is going to be there, and they work really hard, all of them there, to be able to have those services or that information or that support or whatever it is. And, you know, when we talk about renewal, we're in a project now to try to renew some carpet because we are serving so many children, so many youth. And, you know, they get down on the floor and they learn and play and do the stories and the activities and the puppets and all of that stuff as well. Everything geared to try to help support early reading, early socialization, early opportunities to do things that lots of kids would never get to do, you know, going to the grocery store, maybe the outlet for them as well. So I wanted to say that. And then I wanted to make a statement on behalf of the compensation board, and this is not a request to keep it up. That's up to you folks.
Sure.
But I have been following the publicity on the wages you discussed here when you brought it out, and I want to assure you, I think we invented that. 5 above, 5 below, looking at the counties and carefully comparing every single elected official, plus the others as well, to determine what is the average and how does that stack up and rack up and give you folks that those percentage differences to help make your decisions. So when I first started reading about it, I thought, oh my gosh, what are we missing here? But then as I continued to see publicity, it's what we've been doing for some time to try to help you folks.
Correct. And we appreciate that.
Well, I know you do. I know you do, and that's something we can do to help you,
Absolutely.
because you have huge jobs.
Yeah. So I want to say one more thing. I appreciate you opening up the library for a warming center for folks. Because a lot of folks.
More,
Pardon me?
like, tell me more about what you envision.
For a warming center, you give folks that are cold a place to walk into for a while, and you aren't saying your time is up.
Right, we do open the building a half an hour before we open.
Uh-huh.
What more would you like to see in
I think
terms of?
she's just.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just say thank you or thank
Okay.
you. No, thank you. One or two.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
it's,
thinking about bringing the cot.
yeah. I'll tell you
You have to
though,
get in the.
They might charge us.
yeah, just a reflection I've had over the course of the last, this past winter. I do not want to close the library. You know, unless it's a serious safety concern for the staff to get there, I do not want to close the library. Like, I want us to be open every day. We're supposed to be open.
Uh-huh.
So just, I wanted you to know going forward, don't expect the library to be closed unless it's like a totally insane blizzard and,
Or a holiday.
Yeah.
well, of course, we're closed for holidays, but,
Yeah.
but I just really, I understand that people they need that space, they need access to those resources, so,
Yeah.
We're gonna be open.
Used to be a big red 2-story apartment building, house, whatever you want to call it, on that site that belonged to Don and Mary Mill Allen. The reason I know that's because I stayed in one of the upstairs apartments, $80 a month.
Wow.
Can you believe it's reaching 30 years?
I know. I was just thinking that, yeah. I think the library's needed in this county. And I, for one, am very thrilled that your increase of rural residents has happened.
Me too, we worked hard at it, yeah.
Alex has been out to each of the towns to discuss the library.
Nice.
What's available and how to make it available
Nice.
for people to have. And when we see the increase in circulation of things and what needs to be done to support that so that
Absolutely.
we have things for people. I just got 4 books on noxious weeds for you know who.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for me, so I can research them. Just as an aside, they offer those things, that
Yeah.
wide variety, wheat, because it should be wheat, because it comes from you, it comes from the city, it comes from everybody to offer this adjunct to services to the people we serve.
And I do appreciate that. And I used to, when Rebecca was there, I would do, she used to have a program there, mad scientist program. And we're in a rock coat and a little away from it. But, but at any rate, we brought lots of kids through there. There was lots of different things for them to learn. And it was, and I learned as well. My concern is that, and I don't know exactly how to explain this, but we talked earlier, so as you may or may not be aware of, the state of Iowa, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I think, established a mandatory or a statutory limit on what we term as the general basic fund in the county budget. City has a general basic fund too. It's more than ours, but that's statutory limit. So the statutory limit that they established is $3.50. So that's the property tax levy. $3.50. That's the maximum. Everybody's got to go back to that unless the law changes. We're 24 cents away from that at this point. My only point is that statutory limit was established more than 20 years ago.
Right.
And so the issue is, and you expressed it in your wonderful report, 30 years old for a roof. The cost to put that roof on 30 years ago, significantly less than what that cost is today. But our statutory limit is a 20-year-old plus statutory limit. And I understand everybody's concerned about property tax. We have the same concern. We pay property tax as well. I don't know where this is going to go, what the thought process is. I keep track of the legislation that's going through. I understand that this is a state mandate as well. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to you guys. I'm just saying that I understand that it is a state mandate. At some point, the balloon is going to burst because we can't continue to fund things that, in terms of services, how do I want to say this? If the state mandates stay in place, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, I'm just saying that if they do, then we have to look at cutting services in other areas where there's no state mandate. Because the only revenue that we have, in theory, is our property tax revenue. The county is one of the lowest taxing entities in this county, if you look at your tax bill. So just be advised that and I appreciate what Jimmy said, we do work hard in trying to keep your costs down. We don't control the other taxing entities. Everybody comes in here and pays their taxes, so they think we get it all. I understand that. It's the perception. But it's not, when we talk about cuts and dollars and so on and so forth, it's not because we don't appreciate or are not grateful for what you do. We just have to look at the big picture, all the work that you do on the comp board, as far as that part of it goes, and we look at the big picture. So sometimes we have to make some decisions that aren't particularly palatable to people, but that's what you sign up for. So just wanted you to know has nothing to do with anything other than meeting that bottom line goal that the state says we have to meet. But in your case, if I looked at that correctly, it would be about $1,000 increase.
$1,100 increase.
Okay. Just so you know.
Thank you.
We're taking it out of her paycheck.
From the comp board,
Yeah.
turn that over to them. We're just-
So,
Hey, look, if you're gonna be an election worker, you get a raise.
It's true.
so allow claims and approve reports in the amount of,
Have you seen this?
oh yeah, I signed it.
You want to see it?
Well, you go ahead and read the number.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's got to get his glasses out. They're probably dirty. So
You can borrow yours, they were right, break it.
they're dirty.
Oh, okay. Go on. It's the big number, Joe.
$64,003.59.
Boy, we must not have paid Abby last week.
Something was short.
So move.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you.